Welcome to the SIWIKE podcast, the only podcast that shares the stuff you didn't know you needed to know about jobs, careers, and life. The SIWIKE podcast, the stuff I wish I knew earlier.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the SIWIKE Stuff I Wish I Knew Earlier podcast, the podcast that shares what you didn't even know you needed to know about jobs, careers, and life. I'm your host, Lukey, and today's topic is on non-negotiable time. So the first episode that we had, I walk you through the focus-inspired approach. So what do you want, why do you want it, and how do you get it? And I thought about what to do after the approach, and doing something on time management I thought was appropriate, because if you don't make enough time for the things that you're going to do, the things that you're going to achieve, then it doesn't get done. There's a quote out there: if you show me a person's calendar, then I'll show you their priorities. So if you're not putting your personal and professional development as a priority in your calendar, then oftentimes it doesn't get done. So what is non-negotiable time? It's a meeting set aside throughout the day, throughout the week, with the most important person ever, yourself, the CEO of your life, so to speak, right? And essentially, it's time blocked off to get to those things that you've been putting off. You know, that thing on your to-do list that you say, I'll do that tomorrow, I'll do that next week, I'll do that next month, and then years later, it doesn't even get done. So it might be things like reading a book, taking a course, reconnecting with someone, or whatever it may be. It's that stuff that you know what's good for you, but it doesn't have a time limit. And that's the key part of it. It's important to you, but because there's no urgency to it, then it doesn't necessarily get done because life gets in the way. So putting in some non-negotiable time into your calendar can be the key to unlocking yourself, because you're now investing in yourself. You're putting time and effort into yourself. I usually recommend starting with Sunday at 8 to 10 p.m. because, well, what are you really doing during that time? Most people are just recovering or getting ready for the work week up ahead on Monday, and they might be planning or whatever, and oftentimes they're just vegging in front of the television or Netflix or going through social media or whatever. So I encourage you to take that time and use it as the starting point for your non-negotiable time. And non-negotiable time, I guess what it is that time with yourself on personal, professional development projects, trying to get yourself elevated, trying to get yourself up to the next level. What it isn't is catch-up time. So if you have extra work, extra things that need to be done and are due the next day or very shortly, it's not the time to do that. This is the time where if it does not have a due date, this is when you do it. And the reason I call it non-negotiable time is that you don't negotiate. So if other people say, hey, there's a great show on, we should watch it together. Well, you can't negotiate. Oh, we should go out tonight. Can't do that. Oh, you need to go to the bathroom. You need to grab a snack. Come on, you're just making excuses now. So you don't negotiate with yourself. You don't negotiate with other people. You get it done, because this person that you're having an appointment with is the most important person ever, yourself. And if you don't take care of yourself, then how can you take care of everybody else around you? That's the reason why the airlines ask you to put on your face mask before other people's, so that you can take care of other people around you. So what can you put in non-negotiable time? So it can be anything in terms of your personal and professional development, considering things like reading a book. So if you have that 2-hour time slot from 8 to 10 on Sunday, maybe half an hour reading a book. Maybe doing some research in terms of different activities, different areas of interest. Anytime you can follow your curiosity or your interests, that's a great way to spend it. Taking an online course. So if you've enrolled in something to upskill yourself, spending half an hour on that course. It could be reconnecting with loved ones, with friends, with colleagues. That's a great time to use to build meaningful connections and making sure that your relationships are nice and strong. So it could be anything like that. It could be even instituting some exercise or other personal development goals. So it could be planning out the meals that you want to have today, the exercise routines, or it could be just a little bit of meditation and mindfulness. And what I encourage you to do is insert a morning routine and an evening routine that becomes a bit of your non-negotiable time for your day. So it could be all of 10 minutes, it could be half an hour, or whatever you can manage. And do things like journal and reflective write. Do things like exercise and meditate, and set your intentions for the day. Things like that can be so helpful. Do that in the morning, do that in the evening, and have that as your daily non-negotiable time. So I'd encourage you to think about adding some of that extra time so that you can spend on yourself. And that way you can actually think about, what do you want? Why do you want it? And then figure out a plan on how to get it. And one other way to do that is to create what's called your model week. And essentially, it's taking a calendar from Sunday to Saturday, from Monday to Sunday, however you want to do it, and say, well, if I wake up at this time, if I wake up at 6, 7, 8 o'clock, whatever it is, how would I want to spend my day? So doing that morning routine in the morning, doing all the kind of grooming that you need to, your daily commute, and maybe spending that time reading a book or listening to a podcast or something to grow and learn. Then you have your work time, or if you're a student, then you have your class time. And when you get home at 5 or 6 or whenever that you're done, then essentially figuring out what you want to do, spending some time with the family, with the friends, with the kids, with whatever you want, cooking dinner and choosing healthy meal options. Or once kids are asleep, or when you have your own free time, maybe taking an hour, half an hour to input some of your non-negotiable time, right? Then get into your evening routine, get a lot of sleep, because that should be in your calendar for sure. And then seeing how that progresses. And you're doing that for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, with whatever commitments. Maybe you are volunteering, maybe you have a sports team that you're part of, whatever the commitments you might have outside, to put them in your calendar. And then you have your weekend to spend. So how would you want to spend your weekend? Sleeping in until noon, if that's part of what helps you. But if you actually want to achieve all your goals, you might want to consider allocating that to something else, right? And once in a while, it's okay to sleep in. And once you have that model week, to take some time, maybe Sunday from 8 to 10 p.m., and reflect on it. Did you actually do the things that you wanted to do? And it's less about monitoring it hour by hour and week by week, that sort of thing, and more of, did you actually do the things that you wanted? Did you actually do any sort of meditation, any sort of reading, any sort of reconnecting, any sort of whatever? If you did zero of it, well, there's a challenge. But if you were able to do some of it, okay, how do you build off of that? So this is the concept of writing your model week, so that you can figure out how would you want to spend your time. So I encourage you to take a look at how you can insert some non-negotiable time into your day, and maybe starting off by planning your model week. And I think by doing that, then you'll be on your way to having a wonderful life and career. So that's some SIWIKE, the stuff I wish I knew earlier, and hopefully that was useful to you, and see you next time. Thanks for joining us on the SIWIKE, Stuff I Wish I Knew Earlier, the podcast. If you like the podcast, please subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you found this podcast. And if you can give us a review, that would be very appreciated. Feel free to contact me on LinkedIn at Lukidanu, Lukidanu, and the same on most social media platforms. And I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks. Bye.